Pitching is an art. You can't just go to an investor and just pitch a project instantly. You have to follow some sort of structure. Most would agree that you have to start with problem statement, solution, market, and so on. I do this for a living. So when a client comes and asks me what sort of structure they should use for their pitch deck, I usually start with phase zero, which is creating a storyboard. The storyboard is my phase of thinking what the investor would think of at each particular slide of the deck. And by that, when we create that, we get to know how to structure the deck perfectly. So I thought of using ChatGPT in this sense to create a storyboard for a company similar to Amazon. The company is fictional, I called it Hawk, and it just does drone delivery. So let's see how the storyboard looks like. The thing about creating any sort of investor document or business document with ChatGPT is the more accurate or the more parameters you give, the more accurate the outcome is. So I started by saying I'm creating a storyboard consisting of 4 questions. Is this startup interesting or not worth my time? Is it a big market? Who are they competing against and are they up for it? And then finally, what would my potential return on investment be? Now, why did I ask these questions? Because I believed that these questions are vital as a common average pitch deck for an investor. So an investor would think these questions. And then I said, the above are the investors or the readers, but that's what they're thinking. I don't want ChatGPT to do this for me. I just told them this is what they're thinking. Now I want the following parameters for each of the above: reasoning, mentality, and then the pitch deck slide for each one. So the thought process is like, if you think that it's a big market, so what should the pitch deck slide be and when should it be? So this is the idea behind creating this whole storyboard. Now, I already talked to ChatGPT before about Hawk. So I said this is for Hawk, an AI delivery startup. And then it started pitching some information like, okay, I can help you with parameters. Is this startup interesting or not worth my time? And then it started to say the reasoning and mentality behind it. The reasoning is an interesting startup lies in the growing demand for efficient fast delivery service. Now, while the text itself, I wouldn't say is very convincing because it's very robotic, but if you read between the lines, you'll be able to see that it's not really a bad storyboard. It teases your thought process, so it would be good to reason. So that's how this part is, how reasoning and mentality part is. That's we tackle this in each and every slide or each and every question, and then it proposes a pitch deck slide for each one. So the first pitch deck slide is you can include a slide showcasing the current challenges in the delivery industry, emphasizing the need for innovative solutions. So it already also told me the slide and how the reasoning was before that. And then it goes to the second question, is it a big market, reasoning and mentality, and then the pitch deck slide. And if you read the answers quite well, you'll notice that it's quite good in terms of thought. Again, it's not perfect, but it's good as a start. So I took this whole storyboard, designed it in a template of mine that is a storyboard template, and that's how it looks like. The use case is a storyboard for a pitch deck, for a startup's pitch deck, and then Hawk, an AI delivery company. This doesn't exist, the company. So the thought process is what we want the investors to think, or what we're predicting the investors are going to think at the first glance. And our reasoning and thought is what we're explaining in this part of the storyboard. So let's take an example of who are they competing against and are they up for it. Hawk faces competition from both established players in the delivery industry and emerging drone delivery startups. So, and then it starts saying the mentality here is to invest in a startup that has identified its competitors, understand the market dynamics, and has a solid strategy to outperform its rivals. Now, all this is very good reasoning. Now we need to convert this into slides, and I chose to do it to 2 separate slides instead of 1. And that's why I said there is one that shows the competitive landscape and one that shows the unique selling points. ChatGPT didn't tell me to do this in specific, but that's what you need to know. You need to know what ChatGPT is recommending and what you should do as an opposing idea. And for that, you just do the same things with the others, and I did that. If you notice the market slide, you would have expected ChatGPT to get some numbers, but I'm a person, I've said this in many videos, that I don't support the market research coming out of ChatGPT or Bard. I just don't believe in it. It's usually inaccurate. So that's why it says that slide illustrating the current size of the global delivery market and its projected growth. That's what we're going to do, but it didn't give us any numbers in terms of the input of ChatGPT. After you do this, in terms of what ideally is what we use the storyboard for is we send it to the designer. So the designer would create a design concept for the client or for the startup to see. So now that we know that there are 5 slides in this storyboard template, for example, we need to show the design how we envision them like. So challenges, we envision them as icons. Tech, the AI algorithm should look something like that. Financial should look like that. And that's overall the idea of creating a storyboard. ChatGPT did a good job. I would say it did quite a good job in just conveying the points or making you think, but we needed a lot of work in order to actually input those or convert them into slides away from ChatGPT's input, because I would say it's a little like if it's without our input, it's not that good, but because you can't really send it to a designer immediately after this. You could, but the outcome is probably going to be like the text, robotic. You need to add your own input. And that's why I focused on the parts that says the pitch deck slide. This is much more important than the reasoning and the mentality. So the reasoning and the mentality, ChatGPT could help you think what the investors are reasoning. But the pitch deck slide, this is your input because the designer are going to design according to your input. So you can say that the market slide, I don't want it just one bar chart or one line graph. This ChatGPT wouldn't say that. They would just say convey it somehow. So that's your input in the matter. And that's how to create a storyboard with ChatGPT and with the template of Google Slides as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day.